Life underground is simple with clear cut rules. You wake up, you work, you survive, and most importantly, you never ever ever leave underground. That's how it's always been for centuries. No one has ever questioned it. But then again, why hasn't anyone questioned it? Why can't I leave the underground? What's above us? How did we get here? These questions keep swirling my mind, but why does it feel like if I start vocalizing them, everything changes? Why does it feel like something above me that's not just the ceiling, but something heavier pressing down on my throat, making me think twice before I speak? Why does my silence feel like a short safety? And what happens if someone dares to ask, why not? Gurren Lagann might first strike you as a story about giant robots, impossible battles, and over the top heroics. And it is. On the surface, it's chaotic, colorful, and eclectic in the best way possible. But beneath the surface lies a deeper story about control, fear, and the human drive to break free. The series begins underground with humanity trapped beneath the earth, believing the surface is lethal and unreachable. Villages are isolated, life is regulated, and people are taught to obey without question. The world looks safe, orderly, even stable, but there's a tension beneath the surface, an unease that something isn't right. This is where the story's exploration of control and rebellion begins. At the center of the system of oppression is the Spiral King, Lord Genome, whose rules show exactly how fear, censorship, and the illusion of safety are used to maintain control, and why, ultimately, this control is fragile. The Spiral King is a ruler who enforces rules with an iron fist and justifies them as protection. Humanity is restricted, kept ignorant of the surface world, and is taught that curiosity is dangerous. The villages themselves are microcosms of control. Everybody has a role, every question is discouraged, and the surface is off limits. The world above is painted as lethal, and the gunmen patrol ensure that even those brave enough to dream of freedom face instant suppression. Interestingly enough, even in the dynamic between the Beastmen and the Spiral King reveals how authoritarian power despises critical thought, even if it's to benefit them. When Guam warns Lord Genome that humans are gaining control of gunmen, his concern, though rooted in loyalty, is dismissed with a single chilling response. Are you daring to tell me, the king, what to do? This message is clear. Authority is absolute, and even suggestions that might help aren't welcome. And this fear doesn't just stay within Guam. The four beastmen internalize it, going to the extreme lengths to suppress any hints of rebellion. Their brutality towards insurgent humans isn't just loyalty, it's self preservation. They obey out of terror, not out of conviction, showing how authoritarian rule forces agents of systems to perpetuate oppression even against their own moral instincts. This isn't just physical control, it's censorship of the mind, a carefully constructed narrative that convinces people that they're safer when they obey. Life is orderly, yes, but it is a peace built on fear, a false stability that prevents people from imagining something beyond their constraints. What happens when the fear is scaled up? Weaponized not just to control a few villages, but over an entire civilization, even across galaxies. That's where the anti-spirals come in. If the Spiral King relies on censorship and authority to maintain order, the anti-spirals rely on fear itself, turning doubt, hopelessness, and despair into a cage that no one can see. Their logic is simply chilling. Human ambition is dangerous. Humanity will destroy itself, therefore you must stop. This is a subtler kind of control. The anti-spirals doesn't just patrol, they manipulate perception, convince humanity that rebellion is pointless, and instill hopelessness. Fear itself becomes the cage. One of the most striking examples is how anti-spirals weaponize humanity's past failures. They constantly remind spiral civilizations how they lost a war not long ago. This historical memory is leveraged as a psychological tool, framing rebellion as a hopeless endeavor. Humanity is told implicitly and explicitly that resistance only leads to destruction. The fear of failure becomes a chain holding back ambition and hope. Yet, if this were truly a hopeless battle, why does Antispiral go to such lengths, building traps, strategies, and countless obstacles, instead of simply annihilating their humanity outright? Well, this reveals a fundamental truth about authoritarian control. It is not absolute and it'll never be. What the anti-spiral fears the most is not rebellion itself, but the seed of doubt it sows. If even a spark of belief remains that they might succeed, the illusion of total control begins to crumble. Every trap, every manipulative tactic exists to suppress the doubt before it spreads. And that's the thing, humanity's desire for freedom can never truly be suppressed. Time and time again throughout history, people have risen against the chains, defied oppression, and reshaped the world. And all it takes is a leader with courage, vision, and unshakable thirst for more. And Kamana in Gurren Lagann is this leader. Kamana isn't just a character, he's a representation of rebellion itself. He embodies the courage to defy limits, the spark that ignites others to challenge oppression, and the idea that true change comes from believing in something greater than yourself. His personality, energy, and unyielding spirit is less about one individual and more about the universal drive for freedom and self determination. Even though Kamana dies early, his death reinforces what he represents, the essence of rebellion itself. He isn't just a leader to follow, he's a symbol of what a rebellion should be driven by: courage, belief, and the willingness to act despite impossible odds. His passing forces Simone and others to carry that spark within themselves, proving that true rebellion isn't dependent on a single figure, but on the conviction that comes from within. Kamana's impact illustrates a social truth. Oppression can control bodies, restrict movement, and impose rules, but it can never fully extinguish critical thought. The real danger authoritarian systems fear is the collective awakening of those who begin to question, who see the possibility of change. Rebellion is contagious. One person's courage can ripple outwards, inspiring others to challenge the structure that seek to suppress them. This mirrors real-world social movements where transformative change comes from shared belief and collective action. Even after Kamana's death, his energy persists. When the team confronts Anti-Spiral, it's not Kamana himself who fights, it's the spark that he ignites in Simone, Yoko, and the rest of humanity. His defiance has become a movement, proving that authoritarian control cannot kill idea, spirit, or belief. Systems built on fear and obedience may delay progress, but once the desire for freedom spreads, it becomes unstoppable. Stories like this anime remind us that the fear and control can slow us down, but they can never stop the human spirit. Change doesn't need a hero. It begins with a question, a small act, or a refusal to accept limits. Even in situations that feel impossible, that spark of curiosity, courage, and hope can grow. It spreads quietly, inspiring others, and slowly changes the world around us. The lesson is clear. No system, no rule, no fear can ever fully hold us back. What matters is that we keep imagining, keep daring, and keep acting, because that spark, once lit, can never be put out.